Welcome to the Promo Kitchen Deep Dive. This is where we take a favorite tweet from our weekly Twitter promo chat and kind of ask a follow-up question, which you don't often get to do on Twitter. But this week we're really excited because we have Caitlin Flynt, who's marketing coordinator at Sage, joining us. So welcome, Caitlin.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I'm so excited because you're one of our newbies, but you did tell me before we started chatting that you've actually been following Promo Chat for a while. So we're glad that you just jumped in and just figured, you know what, I'm gonna go interact with these misfits and see what happens.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I will say, lurking for a while before getting into it definitely made me feel more confident with sharing my answers. So,
Perfect. So for all the lurkers out there, you can hear it. It's fun. You're gonna have a great time. Come join us. Well, this week was an interesting one because we tackled the idea of funk, like getting fun out of funk, because what we're seeing out there, I know internally and with different groups, is that everyone's just kind of hit this rut of just being done. And while we've just started Q4. So it's one of those, we're kind of brainstorming and asking the crowd, like, what do you do to kind of bring fun back to the workplace? So we have the question of, it's important to address the causes of your funkiness, and one of the number one reasons people lose their fun is feeling stuck. Professionally and personally, feeling stuck is zero fun. What do you do to unstick yourself? And then you came in. I feel like y'all are reading my mind with these questions this week. Getting unstuck from the glue trap that is funk trademark is tricky. I try and work projects backwards or switch up my approach, or even just work in a different room to wiggle out of it. So that's like two great pieces of information there. But I'm really intrigued, like, how do you work projects backwards? Like, what is your thought process for it's not working, I'm not working, switch it up? Like, how do you get to that point? And then what's working backwards for you?
yeah, so sometimes I'll get stuck where like I need to task a project out to a designer and I have just no idea what I want to do. And so, you procrastinate, you sit on it, you're like, oh, maybe I'll figure it out. And then the day's there and you got to task it out and you have no idea what you're going to do. And so I get this situation where I'm like, okay, approaching it from the beginning is just not working. Like, maybe what I need to do is figure out what the end result looks like for me and then work backwards from there. Like, how do we achieve that end result? So, like, a great example of this was I had a blog that I had to write the other day. And I knew that I wanted to convey, like, buying a planner and writing down what you're doing in a planner is a great way to set yourself up for 2022, but I had no idea how I wanted to get there. So instead of starting from like intro forward, I wrote the last paragraph that was like, this is the sentence I want to drive home, and backwards.
I love that. You wrote the last sentence and then started the rest of the novel.
Yeah. It's sort of like when you're doing a maze, like starting at the start point just doesn't always make sense, and you got to go backwards from the end to make it work.
Well, and it's also that idea of when we're trying to get to, like, we know where our endpoint is and we just meander our way to it. Like, it's a great way to have that focus constantly in your sights of knowing, okay, as long as we end up here, we can just move wherever we need to. Like, we can go sideways, but this is our focus. This is the why of what we're doing. So I kind of love that aspect of, like, the why is straight there immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And so what else do you kind of do when you're stuck? If you're not like just writing the last sentence of your novel, like, what else do you end up doing to sort of break through or even bring energy back to your work?
Yeah, I have just a bag of tricks for that. I'm probably not the only person in the world, but over the last 2 years, I've found myself stuck way more often. Things are crazy. And so there are just so many different things that I can do. I know I work from home, and so I spend way too many hours a day in this specific room that I'm in right now. So like I mentioned in that tweet, like, I will take my laptop and go sit at the kitchen table or go work in the bedroom or in the living room and like put on a movie or a documentary or something. I love to take a look at what other people are doing, because especially you get so stuck in your own little bubble. And I definitely guilty of getting trapped in the sage bubble sometimes and just forgetting what happens outside of sage. And so I'll go look at other industry like thought leaders and see what people are saying and what people are doing to sort of refresh and get out of that funk a little bit.
Well, and it's so true. I think so my mom always called it like you have to feed the hopper. And so you would be head down because you're like feeding the hopper, but you're not looking up to making sure there's stuff. This is like I should learn what a hopper is. I know it's a basic like farming thing, and someone out there is like, yeah, it's this. But it's that idea of like, unless you have something coming in and you're forecasting. And so it's that idea of like, what are you doing to go head up and look around and be like, am I prepared? Am I on the right path? Am I way out in left field? And maybe that's a great thing too.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. So are you feeling the funk of 2021 right now, or what are you looking forward to kind of, or like what do you do in even a small or a big way to look forward and get yourself out of the funk that we're all in, which is more fun than it is.
Yeah, I've definitely been a victim to the funk lately, especially with the time change. It's getting dark super early. I'm like, what is even happening? And I think the trickiest part sometimes is to recognize when you're in the funk. I think that it can be really hard to figure out. You know, a lot of people, you may not realize you're in a funk until it's like way too late or you've been in it for a really long time. And so I have some warning signs that I look out for, like if I'm snoozing my alarms every morning, or if I'm doing things at the last minute a lot, I'm like, wait a minute, that's not normal Caitlin behavior. I think something might be going on here.
I think we're twins. Like,
yeah.
Okay. Yep. Check, check, check.
And so like you watch out for the signs, and then I have to remind myself that like there's a lot of stuff to look forward to. So like right now, you know, we have Thanksgiving coming up, we have all the holidays coming up. I'm in a community band, and we're actually going to start preparing for our holiday concert this week, which is in December. So that's something great to look forward to. Boy, so much stuff. And it's like, I think important to remember that there are like great things going on all the time. So even like little things like a dinner with family or a walk with your dog after work can be something to look forward to help you have an endpoint for your day or your week or your month.
Yeah, and it's so true because it's interesting. Kelly Brown from Green Gifts, she talked about this too, is she sets a timer for looking forward to things. And it's actually a psychological trick that I heard a psychologist interviewed about, where he's like, you need to plan things. Because what happened in 2020 and 2021 was that travel was down, events were gone, like everything else. So no one had those like milestones to look forward to. So, I mean, I every weekend plan to go to a new like snack place. I was like, okay, I'm going to find a place in Toronto that has really good food. I'm going to drive there or walk there or bike there. And and it's just like, it's so silly. I usually end up with something absolutely delicious, but it is that little milestone of something to look forward to. And it makes you kind of explore the world out there. So I love this idea of like, you know, put something in there that you want to be part of and explore. Mm-hmm. Well, I think, do you have any other tips for everyone, or have we like stolen enough from your brain at this point?
I think I have a couple other really good tips. I think especially one of the big reasons that I got involved with Promo Kitchen is that over the past 2 years, I realized one of the things that I lacked the most during like the COVID lockdowns and then the continuation of that situation into the next, you know, however many months.
Yes.
Lacking community. And it's so important to find a community and be a part of it. And it really brings you like a lot of fulfillment, and I think makes it a lot easier to get yourself out of funks and to like revitalize a little bit.
I couldn't recommend that enough. I think Promo Kitchen kept me sane for parts of 2020, and which I'm going to do a plug right now is we're always looking for more volunteers. So Caitlin, if you've got time in your busy schedule, or if anyone's listening and they're like, I want to be part of this community, reach out. We want to have you part of our community. Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much for being part of this. And where can we find you on the internet?
I am on Twitter. It's @It's Promo Caitlin. So.
Love that. Perfect. And then thank you also to our sponsor, Maple Ridge Farms, which if you ever need to get out of funk, I'm just going to recommend the chocolate covered Oreos and then their caramels and then their pecans. Like it's all going to work for you. So, so if all else fails, Maple Ridge is there for you.
Yeah.
Well, perfect. Well, thank you. And everyone remember to join weekly. It's bi-weekly. So it's the first and the third of every month where we join in. And so every topic is going to be a lot more different and fun, and we're experimenting a bit. So join us, just follow the hashtag promo chat. So thank you.
Thank you so much.